Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video we're going to be taking a look at a game that I've been playing recently, Hearthstone from Blizzard Entertainment. This is a Warcraft themed collectible card game and I've been having a lot of fun with it, so I thought I'd show you people the game, how it plays and how the business model works, and hopefully encourage more players to get onto this and support the project. So first off, as I've said, it's a collectible card game, so it's a free-to-play model. So the first question is obviously, is it pay to win? And the answer to that question is yes, but no more so than any other CCG. For those who don't play collectible card games, there is an element of the more money that you invest, the more packs you buy, the greater your odds of getting better cards, or you can just buy better cards outright if you go on a website and order them. So yes, with CCGs, just as a genre, there is a pay-to-win problem, which means that this does have that issue, but there are some very good ways that Blizzard have tried to counter this while still pressuring you to spend money. So the way that it works is you can buy booster decks using gold or real money, and there are currently two sets to choose from, Classic and Goblins versus Gnomes, different types of, well, different cards in each one. You've got a range of different prices, and as is usual with these microtransactions, the more you spend, the more you get out of them. You get a better rate of cards, if you will, the more you spend. But you can also purchase with gold. Now, gold is something that you earn by playing the game. You get 10 gold for every 3 wins, and there are also daily challenges that give you between 40 and 60 gold for completing certain challenges. Some of these are quite creative, like play X number of minions that cost less than 3 mana, or there's more standard ones such as just win 2 games with the Warlock class. So you can typically get a new booster deck usually about every 2 to 3 days. You can also try and get more equipment through the arena. Now, the arena costs 150 gold to enter, or £1.50 in real money. That's in British, obviously it's going to be your regional equivalent. So with that, you have to create a draft deck. What happens is you pick one of 3 classes that the game's put before you. You then start getting randomly selected cards 3 at a time. You have to pick one out of those 3 to keep, and the others vanish, although they may come back later and you get another option to pick them. You then have to take this randomly constructed deck and play against other randomly constructed decks, and the more wins you get before you get 3 losses, the better your reward. And your reward is card packs and dust, and also gold. Now, what's dust? Dust is used to create cards. Now, there's no trading in Hearthstone, no direct trading between players anyway, but you can only ever have 2 of each card in any one deck. So what happens is when you get 3 cards, you can disenchant cards, and that gives you additional dust, and you can then create new cards with that dust, and obviously the conversion rate isn't brilliant, but it does mean that you do have options for those cards that you don't need, and that can again reduce the amount of real money that you're having to spend on the game. But obviously because it's doing that, it's not a great effect. Now, you'll be able to play free-to-play for quite a while because the solo adventures as well also give you a lot of options. If you can complete the normal practice modes, beating every class, and also on the expert as well, you get gold for that, so that gives you a nice boost early in the game. For unlocking all of the basic cards in each class, you can see each class has a level, and as you level up you gain additional cards for that class, but you only get the most basic cards, and you need to get the class up to level 10 to have got all of those cards. After that you get duplicates and gold versions of those cards. But nevertheless, unlocking all of those will also give you some gold, so you do get quite a big influx when you start playing the game to try and give you quite a few packs and get a little bit of variety, and I think that's a nice touch. It means that you really do get a taste for how the game plays and if you want to play it before you have to commit to spending money if you want to stay competitive. I think it's a really good balance. So that's the business model. Let's have a look at how Hearthstone actually plays. So I'm going to fire at one of these solo adventures, and I'm going to pick one of my decks. This is quite a new one, it's not quite finished yet. I'm going to play Super Punch-Out. The Super Punch-Out deck is a bit of a gimmick deck, but it's actually quite fun. We'll play against Rogue because I find Rogue is quite easy. We'll see why as we play. Anduin versus Valera. Okay. So what happens here is that you draw 3 cards to start with, but the player who goes second gets to draw an extra card and has another card in their hand called the coin. The coin costs 0 mana to play and gives you 1 extra mana. So this is actually quite a good starting hand, but I might toss Circle of Healing. I might regret that because that stacks well with Northshire Cleric. You can see that Circle of Healing I threw away restores health to minions, and this Northshire Cleric says whenever a minion is healed, I draw a card. So that means I have more cards in my hand. That means I've got more options with how I respond to the opponent and how I pressure them. But yeah, I think it's to my benefit to try and get something else. And the Earthen Ring Farseer is not bad. It's 3/3 for 3, Battlecry, restore 3 health. So you start with 1 mana crystal. Each turn you get 1 extra mana crystal, and that slowly creeps up. So we're just going to start by playing the Northshire Cleric. It means that was a 1 mana cost card, and my mana is now spent, so end turn. Another nice little touch, Hearthstone highlights the cards that you can play, so you can very quickly see at a glance what's relevant and what's not. So you can see, for example, I can't afford to play this, so therefore it's not got the border. Same with Holy Nova. So my opponent's played a creature, and now what I can do is I can attack, but that will kill my unfortunate Northshire Cleric. Do I have anything that can keep them alive? No. Shadowboxer, this is another good one. This is one of the key components of the deck, and it's why the deck is called Super Punch-Out. Whenever any character gets healed, including enemy characters, that deals 1 random damage to something on the board, and that 1 random damage can really, really stack up quickly. Right, I've got nothing that will keep my Northshire Cleric alive, and anything else I play will die except for one of the Light Wells. So I'll drop a Light Well, I'll attack with the Cleric. Yep, and that's another thing as well. Unlike Magic, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, for those who are not familiar with collectible card games, unlike Magic the Gathering, with Hearthstone you don't tap to attack. You can choose your target, so you can destroy enemy minions or go for the enemy avatar, and as you'd expect, the goal is basically go for the face and destroy the enemy avatar. Okay, what have we got? Right, I don't want to drop anything that's going to heal me because everything's at full health. I've got a knife, so that means that the character itself is now actually an active participant in the battle. They have this knife, which they can use to deal 1 damage, but they can only do it twice before the knife breaks. But that's the hero power. Now, hero power is 2 mana for every class, but it is unique for each class. Each class has its own specific cards, but also to differentiate them is the ability. So the ability of the rogue is to just equip a 1/2 dagger. My ability is to restore 2 health to whatever I want, because I'm a priest and therefore I am healer. Right, I still can't play anything, so I'll play the other Light Well. This is a terrible play, incidentally. This is just quite a bad draw, so I may end up losing to the AI, but 2 Light Wells on the field, while it's really difficult for your opponent to make any damage stick, because you can see the Light Well is a 0/5, but at the start of the turn it restores 3 health to a damage-friendly character. Now, a character means it could be a minion, or it could be your avatar. So again, I need to get some board clear out here, really. Knife Juggler, this is similar to the Boxer, but it deals 1 damage whenever anything is summoned. And I've got cards in this deck that can summon multiple enemies, well, multiple minions, sorry, quite easily. But anything I drop is going to die to... I just need to get something on the field. Sod it. Let's just drop minions, up the tempo. Worst possible thing you could have dealt 1 damage to. I was hoping you would hit the raptor. Okay, Assassinate. That's 5 mana, remove a target creature. That's a very, very powerful bit of removal. Bit of a waste, I think, to spend it on the Knife Juggler. So you can see there I've got a combo off. My characters are getting healed, so there we go. The Shadowboxer knocks out everything else. Now, this shield around this minion is Taunt. This means that the minion has the ability that that minion has to be destroyed before you can target minions without Taunt. So it's basically a defensive line. Ooh, potential for an interesting play here. Violet Teacher. Basically, this summons a 1/1 Violet Apprentice whenever I cast a spell. It's designed to combo with Knife Juggler. So I cast a spell, I get the effect of the spell, I get 1 damage from the Knife Juggler, and I also get another 1/1 minion on the board. Really good combo. What I could do is drop the Earthen Ring Farseer, heal myself, see if that does 1 damage to the Goldshire Footman, and then I've got a clear run to knock this thing down a bit. And I can still play the other Earthen Ring Farseer too if I coin for it. So I get 2 chances. No, he goes for the face. It's coin. And yeah, I've got 3 3s on the board as well, so come on. No, didn't want to play. Alright. Well, I don't want to attack because I have to attack this first. That drops me down to 2 health. That means he just bops that and kills it next turn, and you know that's a core part of the deck. That's an important card that the deck relies on. On the other hand, if I leave it next turn, he dies anyway, but he takes both of them with him because you've got to put them both there. Or he goes for the face and the Lightwells heal it, so no attack that turn. So another nice little touch of Hearthstone are the boards. The boards are actually interactive. There's a variety of different boards, and if you click on them, you can see that they, here at the arch, I can cut down the vines, I can light the fire here at the camp, ruffle the top of the tent, and go out with the water here. I should be paying attention to what's going on, but I'm just having fun. Okay, that's not great, but we have Holy Nova. Yeah, we attack that to bring that down to 2. Holy Nova deals 2 damage to all enemy characters and restores 2 health to all friendly characters, so that had 4 health, so I've got to knock that down a little bit, and that can get healed up by the Lightwell next turn anyway. I actually don't really want to use Holy Nova if I'm going to be completely honest, but they've got 3 cards in their hand, I've got 3. It's not great to use this sort of clear. I'd like them to be a bit more committed to a tactic before I shut it down, because right now they could be holding cards which give them another good play. No. We've got advantage. Let's stick to the advantage. 3/3 is, 3 health is a good mark. Anything with 2 health tends to die very easily. 3 health is the point where something can survive reasonably reliably. I can also eye the statue there, I can knock that down. Okay, and what have we got? Okay, not great. I don't want to play anything that's going to die, but the Harvest Golem has an ability called Death Rattle. Now, Death Rattle triggers whenever the minion dies. So in this case, when this minion dies, a 2/1 is summoned to replace it. If you're familiar with CCGs, you'll probably know what these stats are. The first one in yellow is the attack, and the other one is the health. Unlike in Magic, damage to minions carries because, well, the reason it doesn't in Magic, I'm assuming, is because it's too awkward to keep track of it in a card game. But in Hearthstone, obviously, digital card game, the computer can keep track of all the numbers for you, so damage carries. And let's just go for the face. There's nothing else I can really do. Actually, I can play Apprentice. Yeah. Not much for damage, but they can't kill it unless they throw the assassin at it and the avatar, and if they throw the avatar at it, it'll deal 3 damage to the avatar because it's a standard attack as if the avatar was a minion. Okay, there we go. We have lethal. GG. We've got 6, 7, 8 damage on the board. They've got 7 health. They've got no taunt. And again, unlike Magic, when it's your turn, your opponent can't play cards. Card special abilities can trigger, but they can't actually. There's no equivalent of instants that you can play during your opponent's turn. It's one of the things I quite like about Hearthstone. Actually, is it's a very simple game. A lot of the joy comes from just simple tactics, the deck design, and just how things work. It's quite pleasant, I think.
I'm ready to learn.
There we go. Just delaying it 1 turn just because I'm a bastard. Incidentally, you should never, ever, ever, ever do that. If you've got lethal, you take lethal because you never know what your opponent's got in their hand. You can see now he's actually nearly got rid of... He's nearly got lethal off the board, actually. Okie doke. And that's down. So yeah, that was one of my decks. That's probably one of the most successful decks I've built today. I don't like building the net decks, the pre-built stuff. For me, a lot of the fun in Hearthstone comes from trying to make a deck work, and I'm actually doing alright with it. The main play mode is casual and ranked. Playing against human players gives you more XP for unlocking new cards and leveling up your class. And ranked mode is the standard ladder. I've managed to get up to about 16, but I've never made it stick. I am usually round about 19, 18. New season's just started, so I haven't quite got up to my old rank yet. But what I will do is show you one more deck, just so that I can show you the variety that is actually present here in Hearthstone. Another thing that's worth noting actually is this Naxxramas. This is a single player standalone expansion pack. I think this was £15. The normal mode is a sequence of boss challenges.
He's a giant spider.
An interrupting necromancer says. Anyway, so you have various quarters here that contain different bosses, which are very different fights from the standard format. For example, Patchwork here is basically the only character in his game. He has a weapon and he has some cards, but the main thing you're trying to beat is the avatar. He doesn't play minions. So you got Kel'Thuzad at the very end as well, and completing each of these sets gets you a new card. And then you've got the class challenges. These are pre-built decks, so they're a little bit easier to work with once you identify what the deck is designed to do. These are quite easy to complete and can give you some good ideas for your own decks as well. And again, beating each of one of these gets you a new card. And finally there is Heroic. This is basically normal mode on steroids. I've done a couple of them, but they are really quite hard. I think if I just grabbed a net deck or just looked it up on Google, there'd be like an incredibly basic, easy way of doing these, but you know, that's not how I play. I prefer to find the solutions myself. But what we will do is I will show you. What do I want to show you? I could show you Death Rattler, because we mentioned Death Rattle before, a special ability that means that triggers when a unit is killed. This is a deck that's built around using that mechanic. So there's also Shaman Rattler, which is a bit more interesting, but I know how Death Rattler plays. This is the 4th version of this deck, so again we'll play against Rogue because it's reasonably straightforward to play against Rogue. The reason is that the Rogue has a lot of cards that are designed to cycle and combo. The Rogue class, they play lots and lots of cards that combo together for a bigger effect, or they do lots of damage very quickly but with no regard for healing. They're basically DPS, as you would expect. I want to keep that Shadow Bolt because that's good removal in case he plays something Gribbly early in the game, which Rogue doesn't usually do, so actually I will drop that. Cult Master is good. Whenever a minion dies, draw a card, but because it's only got 2 health, it dies very easily. So that's usually better in the mid game when you've got some control of the board and you know that your opponent's not got anything that's going to get rid of it. Voidwalker on turn 1, yes, it's a 1/3 with Taunt. This is very good against Rogue because remember the Rogue can equip a knife and they can attack your character directly. If there's a Voidwalker they can't do that because it has Taunt. And Corruption is great. Corruption, it's removal, and when most people think removal is for getting rid of really powerful cards. It's a way that you basically, your opponent plays their big Gribbly super boss monster card, you play hard removal, and boom, it gets rid of it. It either deals so much damage to it, it kills it, or it's an effect, something, but it gets rid of the card. Corruption doesn't do that straight away, and normally what you want for removal is you want that card off the board now, not next turn, now. So people look at Corruption and go, not great, but what it does do is it shuts down early game combos. For example, if I was playing my Super Punch-Out deck using this deck, I'd put Corruption on the Shadow Boxer or the Knife Juggler. because they're weak little minions. They're not worth the cost of proper hard removal, but this is so cheap that you can afford to wait for that turn for them to die. So that's why that's being kept in there. And sorry, that was a huge run-on explanation. I don't like doing live recordings because I do have a tendency to just overanalyze and ramble. It's the sort of thing that I usually end up removing in editing. Okay, this minion has stealth. Stealth basically means that the minion cannot be attacked or targeted by anything until the point where it's actually attacked itself. So we can drop the Void Walker for that. And if he tries to attack the Void Walker survives and that dies. On the other hand, if they combo it with the Avatar, the Void Walker dies, and yeah. Well, okay, that's fine. I've traded 1-for-1 with the Void Walker, so that's not too bad. You know, he had to spend 1 card to get rid of my 1 card, so that's usually quite good. Here is the Warlock's special ability, Life Tap. You deal 2 damage to your character, and then you draw a card. It is insanely useful. It is probably the best general purpose power in the game, in my opinion. I'm no expert at Hearthstone, but that's my considered opinion. So Void Terror, this is a lot of fun. When it enters the battlefield, it destroys minions either side of it, and it gains their attack and health. Now there's quite a few minions and spells which deal damage based on location and adjacencies, so the order that you play your minions in and the order you put them in on the board actually does matter. There is a positional element to this game. So what I'm going to do is play the Mortal Coil on this little fellow because he's only got 1 health, and if this spell kills, it draws. And again, the more cards you draw, the more answers you have, the more opportunities that are available to you. You can see this poor bugger's only got 3 hands now, and I've got, what, about 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Maximum hand size is 9, by the way. Sorry, 10. I don't know why I said 9. I'm going to be on 9 next turn, so, unless I play anything, which I am. And again, I'm just going to play it on that ringleader because I can't kill him this turn. I could kill him next turn, but if I've got that on him, then whatever I was going to spend killing him next turn can be spent on something else. And this is also good because it means even though I've not got a minion, he still dies next turn. There we go. So that's the value of Corruption. Siphon Soul, this is an example of hard removal. Destroy a minion. There's no damage dealt. It doesn't matter how strong the minion is, unless they've got card text that nullifies spells or somehow other nullifies this thing's effect, it dies. And not only that, it restores 3 health to the hero as well. Pretty damn good card for 6 mana in my opinion. I'm going to play Piloted Shredder. This has a Death Rattle. So it's a 4-3, which 4-3 for 4, which isn't bad. But the Death Rattle is it summons a random 2-cost minion, and there are some really nasty 2-cost minions in the game. There's also some stuff that you really wouldn't want to draw. There's one that's a 0-7, and at the start of your turn, it destroys all creatures on the board. Great if your opponent's flooded the board, not so great if you've flooded the board. So what I could do is play the Void Terror here, get the 4-3 from that to add it to the 3-3 on this and turn it into an almighty 7-6, and get a random 2-cost minion from the Shredder as well. So this is why that's in this deck, because you don't care if your minions are dying, because when they die you get something extra for it. Ooh, on the other hand, I want to try and maintain board control, so I'm going to use the Shadow Bolt to take out the Gnome. I'm going to draw there. Ah, now this is a great combo. Give a friendly minion +4/+4 until the end of the turn, and then it dies. You can use that on a minion, give it +4/+4, and then use the Void Terror to consume the minion. And because the minion's going to die anyway, you don't care, and the Void Terror not only gets the minion's base stats, but also the buffed up 4/4 as well. So that's a really good little combo. We'll try and see if we can play for that if it survives to the next turn. I normally like to play it on another card called Nerubian Egg. Ah, damn it. Combo. Combo means if you've already played a card, an extra effect happens. So what did I get? A Shrinkmeister. Yeah, not great. A 3-2. This is a problem with 2 health creatures. They die very easily. Oh, this used to be a great card, and then it got nerfed. Undertaker. Whenever you summoned another minion with Death Rattle, the Undertaker got +1 attack and +1 health. It costs 1 mana. And there are a lot of cheap Death Rattle creatures in the game. This thing was sick. You could play it and quite easily get it up to like 3-3 or 4-4 on like turn 3 or 4 quite easily. Even higher than that, actually, depending on how good your draw was. And then it would just keep growing throughout the game. Then they had to nerf it. I've got a lot of cards, but I've not really got anything that's ideal here. I drew these 2 in a row, which is not great. I could try life tapping, but I'm very close to my hand size here. Sod it. Let's try it. Hellfire, actually, that's not a bad play. I've not got anything on the board to die. Yeah, I'll go with that. Again, it's always risky playing clear like that when your opponents who've still got cards in their hand, because you don't know what else they're going to put down. They might do something that's going to make the situation a lot worse. But then again, they might not. You've just kind of got to think about what your opponent might have and what they might play. Right, we're going to coin for Sneed's Old Shredder. This is a great card. 5/7 summons a random legendary minion. Now, legendary minions have a variety of different costs, so you can end up with something really naff. Oh, it's pulled Assassinate, so that's an example of removal. And it turned into a 7/7. What's that, Nepulton? Battlecry. Add 4 random Murlocs to your hand. Now, unfortunately, Battlecry is an ability that triggers when you play a card. It doesn't trigger when the card enters play, it triggers when the card is played. So if it didn't come from your hand, the Battlecry doesn't count. So that's a bit of a shame. But that said, Murloc cards would have just taken me over my hand limit anyway, so... This is quite an RNG heavy deck. Goblins vs Gnomes is quite an RNG heavy set. RNG, random number generator. There's a lot of randomness to the game. The classic set has a lot less randomness, but it's not quite as satisfying. The best decks are a mix of the two, but that gives you an idea as to what they're actually like. I don't know what we're going to do here. There's nothing that I really want to play. I mean, the Cult Master's going to die too easily. That said, he's probably going to want to shut down the 7/3 more than the Cult Master, so if we play the Cult Master just to get stuff out of my hand... I've lost a lot of health, I don't really want to life tap. I'll chuck out the Undertaker as well. Hang on, what I could have done is put the Undertaker there, use the Void Terror to consume that, because he's on 3 health, so he's probably going to die soon. Yeah, that'll be the play next turn, I think. We'll possibly get the... Oh, Betrayal. Yeah, this is one of the ones I mentioned, and it's why positioning is important. Nevertheless, I got card draw. Unfortunately, I think I'm now at my hand size. This is a problem with Warlock decks. You can just keep drawing and drawing and drawing. Nope. Okay, I must be right on the edge. Okay. Alright, Nerubian Egg. Death Rattle, summon his 4/4 Nerubian. That combos well with Void Terror. So what I'd normally do is I would cast Power Overwhelming on that, kill something with it, then drop Void Terror. But... Is there any way I can get rid of that thing? I don't want to waste Siphon Soul on it because that's a weak minion it's easy to get rid of. But I do want to power up. I want to be able to drop the Void Terror and have a Cult Master give me bonus cards for those deaths. But my hand size is so goddamn full, it doesn't really matter. So we'll put that there. And we will play you there. It's Death Rattle summon 2 1/1 Spectral Spiders. It'll also give a bit of extra health to the Void Terror. Okay, my draw. Oh, Corruption. Yes, I think that is actually not a terrible idea. Corruption. And this thing's probably going to die next turn, so we'll go for the face. Now, there is a time limit on the turns in Hearthstone, but not in the single player mode. So if you're thinking, hang on, wait a minute, what's to stop someone dilly-dallying around and trying to complain into the stream when we're in the middle of a game, the answer is yes, there are time limits, just not in the single player mode. Okay, I now have 2 Demon Fire in hand. I think, can we get lethal? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We can in fact get lethal. Hasta la vista. No, I can't do it. My Arnold Schwarzenegger is terrible. Okay, so that's another example of Hearthstone. The single-player mode is very much an afterthought. If you think you're going to get a satisfying experience playing the practice modes, you're probably wrong. The real meat of the game is here on the ladder and in the arena, especially in the arena, but I wouldn't go in there until you've got a solid understanding of the cards and how they work, and you've got a lot of experience with the various classes. Otherwise, you're just going to get your backside handed to you. But anyway, that's Hearthstone. If people would like me to do some more videos on this, if they would like to see me do some ladder matches maybe, or put together a deck, then let me know. Post a comment and I'll look into making more of these videos. But for now, I'm Evis T, signing off.